Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel Learn Math with Syed Ali. Today we have two problems and the formula applied on these two problems are called or is called financial formula. Financial formula is again based on the exponential function which we had done in the last video. So there are two formulas we did, like a decay or the growth formula. That decay and the growth formula was y is equals to c times a raised to the power x, and we did two questions. One was the bacteria cultured, and then other was the radioactive substance which was decaying, right? So first one was the bacteria was double in the size, and second question was like some of the radioactive is half-life given. Half-life is decreasing function, right? Decaying function. Now the second formula is financial function, and this financial function is given by a is equals to p times 1 plus I raised to the power n, where a is the amount of the future value, a is the amount of the future value, p is the original principal amount, right? P is the original principal amount, and I is the interest rate, n is the number of the conversion period. N is the number of the conversion period. So for growth, we write this formula as 1 plus I, and for decay, we write the same formula as 1 minus I. So whatever the circumstances are in the word problem, we have to choose the formula accordingly. Do not confuse. Do not try to solve the two types of the question with the same formula. Formula will change for decay. A is equals to p times 1 plus I raised to the power n. Now we see what the question says. Determine the present value of investment that will worth $10,500 in 4 months. The interest rate is 6% compounded semi-annually. Semi-annually, right? So period. So we will see that P is unknown. Present value. P is the amount of the original principal amount, right? So present value, original principal amount. So A is worth 10,500. What is A? A is the amount of the future value. So determine the present value of the investment that will worth 10,500. That will worth, like, this is the future value. So A is 10,500 in 4 months. So that means N is 4 months, but this N has to be in years, and we have to see always with the N that number of the years times frequency. So 4 over 12 is the years, right? But we have to times it by frequency. We have always have to times by the frequency, and the frequency is here. What is the frequency? 2, right? Why 2? Frequency is 2. So we can say determine the present value of the investment that will worth 10,500 in 4 months. The interest rate is 6% compounded semi-annually. Semi-annually, right? So semi-annually means we have to multiply, the frequency is 2, right? Frequency is 2. So always remember that N is number of the years times the frequency, times the frequency. So you have to read the question carefully and times it by the frequency. And what is I? He said I is given as 6%. 6% means always divide by the percentage. For 100, 6%, this is 6%, and times or divide by the frequency. Here you have to divide, right? So 6 divided by 100 divided by 2. So frequency is very important in this question, and if you pick the frequency correctly, you cannot do it wrong, right? And the formula, apply the formula after setting up the data, and now we know everything. So I can say P times 1 plus I to the power n, right? So it's a growth because determine the present value which worth is 10,500. So we will see how much, right? So A is what I have. A is 10,500 is equals to P times, P is my unknown, 1 plus I is my, what is I? I did not calculate it. 6 divided by 100, put it in calculator. So you divide by 2, you will get 0.03. And here you will be getting 4 times 2 is 8, 8 divided by 12. Or you can write, for instance, a simplified fraction will be 2 over 3, right? If I cut the numerator, here 4 1 is 4, 4 3 is 12. So I have 0.03 here, which is my rate, interest rate, to the power n. What is my n? Let me write it little smaller so that we have some space. So 10,500 is my A. Let me check. 10,500 is equals to P times 1.03, because it is added up, raised to the power n. N is my 2 over 3. If you substitute power 1.03 to the power 2 by 3 in calculator, you will get 1.0199. So rest is done by the calculator, right? So this P times, or P is equals to, I can flip the equation like this. P is equals to 10,500 divided by 1.0199. 1.0199. So if I simplify this, I will get P is equals to $10,295, and this is my answer, right? So what is important here is we need to understand that I, which is the interest rate, that must be divided by 100 and divided by frequency. And how can I read my frequency? Is compounded semi-annually. Semi-annually means in a year 2 times. So my frequency is 2. So frequency, and again for n will be equals to number of the years. I can write here n will be equals to number of the years. If it is in months, we have to convert it into number of the years divided by or times by frequency. Number of the years is equals to number of the years times by frequency. Here I have to times, right? And I times it. Times frequency, right? Frequency. So if you know that number of the years are 4 months, here is 4 months. So year will be 4 over 12 and frequency is 2. So we use frequency in I and N, and rest of the 2 alphabets are the principal amount. P is the original principal amount, and A is the amount after of the future value, right? Now we see what the question number 2. If 2,000 is deposited in an account paying 7% interest compound quarterly. Quarterly is important, right? Quarterly means 1 over 4, like 4 payment in a year. 4 payment in a year, right? So approximately how long will it take to the deposit to increase 3,600? How long will it take, right? So how long means n is unknown, right? How long? But we also have to know the frequency, which is quarterly, which is 1 over 4, right? So we will set up the data or the given, and A is given as 3,600. We have to see how much it can increase, right? Deposit to increase to 3,600. P is 2,000. What is P? P is original principal amount. So how long will it take to get 2,000 to 3,600, right? How long will it take? If it is deposited for interest rate of 7% and, right, and n is unknown, number of the periods, right? We don't know. So this n is unknown, right? Important thing is frequency, and the frequency in this question is 4, right? Because it is quarterly. So when I will calculate my I, it will change its value from 7% to I divided by 100 and divided by 4, right? So I was 7%, but now I have 7 divided by 100 divided by 4, which will give me 0.0175. So always calculate I because I is dependent on frequency, right? Frequency is 4. Why? Quarterly. Quarterly means 4 payment in a year. Next is N. N we have to calculate. When we calculate the N number from the formula, remember, this is important. A is equals to P times 1 plus I to the power N is my formula. But when I calculate N, that will not my answer. Most of the students leave it here. Why? Because the actual time will be equals to this N divided by the frequency. Divided by the frequency. So now we will substitute the data. 3600 is equals to 2000. 1 plus I will be 1.175 raised to the power N. And whenever we have to solve a function which has got the exponent, we take the log of each side. So first we simplify it to an extent where I can take the log of both sides, 1.175 to the power N. When we simplify this part, it is 1.8, right? 1.8 is equals to 1.175 to the power N. And this N is unknown in this equation, right? N is the exponent function. How to solve exponent function? We take the logarithm of both sides. So I will say log of 1.8 is equals to get the power down N and take the log of the base. So log of 1.175. Log of, let me write the whole thing, log of 1.175 and close the bracket. So now I have to take the log to calculate N. N will be equals to log of 1.8 divided by log of 1.175. If you use your calculator to get N, this N will come out as 8 point. This will become out as 34, for example, 33.88. We can reduce it or simplify it to the unit number, which is whole number, which is 34, right? Because it is 33.889. So N is 34. This N is not my answer, right? What will be the actual time? So actual time will be equals 34 divided by frequency. How many frequency we have? 4. So that means 8.5, or you can say, round it off to one decimal place, we can say 8.5 years is my answer. We will review it one more time to get it fully understood. So the question is, if 2000 is deposited in the account paying 7% interest compounded quarterly, approximately how long will it take the deposit to increase to 3600? So 3600 is my amount of the future value, which is A. P is my initial investment, original principal amount, which is 2000, and it has been deposited at 7% interest compound quarterly. So two things, A and P are clear and straightforward. So we substitute the value of A and P. Then my percent or interest rate is 7%. That has to recalculate because you cannot put 7 or 7%. You have to calculate because it is paid quarterly. Frequency is like in a year 4 times. So I divided by 100 divided by 4 will give you the real I, which you need to substitute in the formula. And then you have to find out N from the formula. It is a logarithmic function. So you take log of both sides. After simplification, you get N is equals to 34. But this 34 is not your actual answer. Your actual answer will be quarterly. This N is based on annually. And now I have to see what my actual time if I paying it quarterly. Compound interest paid quarterly. So 34 divided by 4, which is 8.5 years. So it will take 8.5 years to grow your amount of 2000 to 3600 if it is invested at 7% interest rate compounded quarterly. Hope you understand the video. You review both of the questions, and then if you have any question, you can always welcome to email me at s_shahid_ali@hotmail.com. Hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe my channel, press the bell icon button. Thank you for watching.